Hey people, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be all about a HG 1144 Zaku III Custom. This is part of the HG range. It's a cheaper model. I'm going to build it, show you what it's all about, give you my thoughts along the way, and then give you a review at the end. Grab yourself a brew and let's get this one started. Okay, so this one is a HG model. It's a Zaku III Custom. I got interested in this one. I haven't actually made a Zaku before. Seen this in my local Toy Master shop over in Marple, and I really wanted to give it a go. I quite like the style of these newer HGs, and the Zaku has been one of them things where there's a couple of different iterations of it, and they're not all really attractive to me, but I really liked the way that this one is. I like the colour scheme on it. It's like an army sort of green colour, and I like some of the accentuated features on it, which include sort of like flared legs and some more of the different things like the massive shoulder pads with the spikes and stuff on. So quite excited to build this. A bit of a palette cleanser again from building one of the RGs. These HGs are simplified, but they are really detailed in nice ways. I've looked at some of the pictures of this and I think it's going to make a good model. So let's get it unboxed. I'll show you what's in the box and we'll take it from there and we'll get it built. This was £15.99 from my local toy store. I think you can get this cheaper elsewhere if I'm honest, but I like to support my local shop. I had spoken to them previously about getting some Gundam models in, and they were keen to do that. They have got a few of them in, a couple of bits like the Barbatus and a couple of the entry grade type kits. I haven't covered one of them yet. If you want me to cover an entry grade kit, you do me a favour, put a comment down in the comment box, and I'm quite happy to get one and show you what the entry grade is all about. They themselves have moved on as well. Even entry grade are quite a good little model now. So let's get this opened. Okay, so it feels quite full of plastic for a HG. So we've got the D1 sprue. This is that nice khaki army type green that I was talking about before. I've got some dreaded stickers in there already, little Bandai ones there. This looks like it uses, I think they're called polycaps, but they are rubberized version of the joints that go into the actual plastic. These are generally okay if you don't move and use the model loads and loads. They weaken over time, and I think they can even perish as well. But I haven't had any problems with doing anything like this before. It doesn't tend to bother me even having them, but I know some people complain about it. That was a slightly darker green as well. Bit of the armour, there's a big armour skirt at the rear to go on, and then you've got some shoulder pads. This one is the B sprue and the C sprue. These also seem to be little bits of armour, some bits of detail around the hands. They don't look that sharply cut. They look okay. I'm going to reserve judgment at this point about whether that's going to be detailed enough. And then we've got some of the canisters for the back. That is the F sprue and the A sprue. So A sprues are generally the multicoloured sprue when you look at anything from sort of RG and above, but this is all one colour, quite large pieces. I think this should go together relatively quickly. And then we've got our instructions. So these instructions are a bit smaller than normal, smaller in size, and I don't know if it's going to be, nowhere near as detailed either. So let me see. These are fold out instructions, so rather than being a booklet, very simple, nice and cheap for Bandai, it is a fold out instruction. We've got here the sprues and runners for check-in. There isn't any noticeable tips. Okay, so there's no tips like you would normally get within your MG kit, and to be fair, I think I've seen in other HG kits, it's just not in this. But we're straight into the build process, which looks fairly simple, fairly normal. So it looks different in the way that it's broken down. Doesn't look anywhere near as detailed and as high quality as the other instructions that I've used before, but it's got all the relevant information. We'll follow it through when we're doing the build and see how that actually goes. Here is the colour guide for the model itself. This has got some painting details on for some of the different colours that you're going to require for the model if you were to paint it. I've got a feeling that there are some of the accents on it that you should basically paint. I think this is a painted version of the model as well, rather than being out of the box. I know at some point they actually changed this so that what they do now on some of the boxes is give you a copy of what the model looks like not painted, and then they also then declare when they've put pictures on that have been painted in order for you to sort of differentiate between the two finishes, I suppose. So I think without further ado, we'll get that one made and we'll see what that looks like. I'll try and stop through each section and show you what I've got. Okay, so legs made. They are very, very chunky boy legs. Put it into perspective, that is an RG 782 leg, and that is the Zaku leg. Absolutely massive. Positives and negatives. The plastic seems like it's okay in quality. I would say that the level of detail is minimal, and there's unfortunately a lot of side gating on here, so you do get a lot of nubs and a lot of marks. You've also got the issue that the seam line is right down the middle of the model, so a bit easy to see, where effectively with more detailed models you can't really see some of the seam lines and the joins. They're all in particular places, which doesn't have sort of like an aesthetic effect on the model. But got to bear this in mind that it is a HG model, and I actually think the more I'm building it, it is a lower quality HG model. There are some now which aren't really far off an RG, but this one feels like it's a little bit old school. I am enjoying it. It is not a laborious process by any means, because some of these bits are quite big. It is a quite simple thing to do. That said, if you make this, there are nubs to cut off here and here, and there's 3 sets of nubs here, but 2 of those nubs, or 2 of those bits on it, need to stay there in order to hold this piece on. So if I was to pull this one off like that, you'll see that there's 2 nubs there. Now stupidly I clipped off one of the nubs and I've had to stick this part on with a bit of plastic glue, just because I've got a little bit too snip happy and cut that away. So just bear that in mind if you are making it. Another confusing part for me was where this thing's just come off that I've just broken. Sticking this little booster, exhaust, whatever you want to call it, on was really difficult for me to work out where it was. It might just be me being thick, but it's actually supposed to go on here. When you look at the instructions, I don't think it's that clear, but yeah, that might be me. So going together okay so far. We crack on. We're going to make the little head next, and then we will see how we crack on with the rest of it as well. Okay, so head made. Really simple construction, but a relatively good level of detail. Sticker inside for the eyepiece. That's actually a blue section of plastic. You put a black sticker over the top, and then you've got this little pink dot that you can put anywhere you want. That gives you a little bit of flexibility to put it somewhere within that eye line. In all honesty, I'm a pretty boring guy, and I just whacked it as sort of straight in the middle as I could, really. But yeah, nice and simple put together. Bit annoying that there's a nub right on the top, which you can see, but I'll try and get that out with a bit of a glass file. Again, not the greatest place to put it. A couple of seam lines and little bits and pieces which just ruin the finish ever so slightly, but it looks like a Zaku head, and that is half the battle. Let's get on and make the next part. Okay, so both the left and right arms are made. Loving the massive spikes on here, looking very sort of epic. I think the thing I like about this is it just feels like a massive over the top manga robot, and yeah, it's not disappointing as I'm building it. Same issues though, dark green plastic and light green plastic. The nubs show up quite heavily. It would take a lot of work really to put into this to be able to get them out. You probably could do it by sanding them all back, sanding each panel, and then painting it with a matte finish primer or something similar, and that would probably sort it out. I don't really like doing that. I want to show you what it's going to look like just built. I am enjoying building it. We are about, I think, about an hour and a half into the build at this point, and we've got quite a lot done. So that's both legs, both arms, the head built. We're going to move on to the torso, and I think then we're going to be looking at the assembly and weapons. So let's see how it gets on. Legs all made up, lower torso made up, and this sort of big large skirt at the back. Some of it was a bit fiddly. You still can see those bits of nub marks on the dark plastic, just continuing the theme really all the way through. Some little bits of red accents, just giving a little bit of colour separation. Colour separation on this isn't amazing, but for the price and the size of it, I think it is pretty good. That is backpack onto the chest piece. I'm just going to run you through throwing this together then. So we're going to put that onto the leg section, so that's full main torso in there. Let me push that up, and then we've got right arm to go on, push into that bit, and then we've got left arm. Forgive me, that's the wrong way around. This one is the right arm, it's my left, hence the confusion. So yeah, that in place, and then finish off our bit of a character there, our Zaku head, which is quite cool. Balance wise it wants to fall over backwards, but just a little bit of adjustment there, and we've got our Zaku all stood up. It looks like all I've got to do now is make some of the weapons. So there is a gun to make, there's a saber to make, and some other little bits and pieces. So what I'll do, I'll make them off camera, and then I will give you my thoughts on this model. Quick spin. This is what it looks like as is, built with no Gundam marker in and nothing else going on. There isn't actually a lot to mark up on this. There's some bits here in grooves, but generally the lack of detail in the arms of these large panels actually lends itself to not having a lot of detail in markers done at all. There's no real stickers, well, there's no real decals for this, just some stickers, which are, I've used 2 of those, and then I think there's some more. Not really sure what those 2 are for. I might have missed it in the build process, but I'll have a look and I'll find out. So from here we'll finish it off, get those little bits and pieces done, and then I'll give you my thoughts on this. Okay, so thoughts on this one then. It is a HG model. I think when I first saw all the box art for it, I was really excited, and as I started building it and started to realise some of the elements of the different type of plastic and the colours and the simplicity, I got a little bit concerned that it was going to end up being really tacky and really rubbish. But I'm pleased to say that as I've finished it and I've marked it all up, I'm actually quite happy with the end result. It's clearly an older model. It's been around for a little bit, this one. So plastics are generally okay. This isn't a premium type of plastic that I've seen on some of the other models. It does feel slightly more brittle. It is easier to mark. The colours scheme of this model is really nice and sort of striking. Box art wise it looks beautiful, but it actually means that when it comes to snipping it and doing all the cuts, it does mark up quite easily. It's also part of that series of models where seam lines weren't thought about quite as much. And so because I'm not taking this model to the nth degree, sanding it down and lacquering it over, then you are seeing some of the seam lines with it. For example, where you're looking at larger panels, there are areas where those two pieces have gone together and you've got a big line down a larger panel. So it does affect the quality of it, but I would say that because of the overall general look, the quality is okay. I'm reasonably happy with it. It's not something that is comparable to an RG. It's simply a decent model. It's a good size. Quality is okay. Weapons wise then, this has got a two-handed blaster type gun. It's got two different sets of hands, but it is a very basic model. It's not got a lot of other stuff with it. That is really the extent of the weaponry for it, but it appears to be enough. Posability, this thing is pretty simple and pretty basic. In all honesty, I haven't got a lot of posing out of it. It has got some really cool big feet, which means it is pretty sturdy when it's stood up. It doesn't require a stand. I think you could possibly use a stand with this one, but there is no need for it. I've got this in a very basic pose on the shelf, and to me it just sort of looks the part. Because of some of those bigger pieces of armour, it isn't going to be anywhere near as articulate as some of those smaller RG models where they really do bend back on themselves, like through the legs and that. But I'm happy with the way it looks. That's half the battle. That brings me on to the instructions. The instructions themselves are pretty good. So what I would say with this one is that simplistic layout of having the fold out booklet is a bit annoying when you haven't got loads of table space, but you just end up folding it over and over, which is fine in the end. But what I did notice was there was a couple of places where I actually found the instructions a bit difficult to read as to where some of those parts were going. Particularly there was a part in the leg where I had a bit of an issue working out where exactly this thruster was supposed to go. That said, the instructions are clear enough for all the other pieces, and I did manage to get that done. In total, it didn't really take a long time to make this. It was about a 2 to 3 hour project, so not bad at all. Looking again at the quality aspect of the plastics, albeit there isn't a great amount of detail in the actual panels themselves, this model feels to me like it's mainly about its bulk and its kind of size and its look. I was concerned at first that there wasn't enough detail in it, that it would actually look like a decent finished model. But between some of the bits in the head where you've got grooves and little bits to fill in with your Gundam marker, and some of the panels on the legs where when they're marked up they really seem to add a greater depth of detail, it's actually quite a good looking model now as a finished piece. Value wise, I got this one for $15.99 from my local Toy Master shop. I think I can get that a little bit cheaper, a couple of pounds cheaper from IntoTheHobbyverse, but if you're paying anywhere between the £13 to £15 mark, I think you're getting a fairly solid model. The greatest drawback with this is the level of detail. It just isn't really there, but as this is my first Zaku model, I was just excited to build this one as my first Zaku and see what the level of detail was like. I did enjoy building it. That's kind of the key thing. Value for money wise, I think you're getting relative value for money. There are better HGs out there now. I know from building some of the Build Fighters ones that for similar money you are getting a higher level of model. But as Zaku's go, I think this one's okay. I'm going to try and find another Zaku model that's going to be a bit more detailed. I have heard some of the other HG ones, including the RFV one, which is based on the Netflix model, is better. If you've got a recommendation for a Zaku for me where you think is a better level of detail, then please do let me know. I will have a look at that. I quite like that style of model. That brings me on to stickers. There is only a small amount of stickers for this. You've got stickers to do with the eyes, and then you've got some bits that go onto the feet where it makes up some yellow pieces on the actual foot area. But in general, the colour separation on this is okay based on the fact that they're large areas of armour panel. There's no intricacy with it. It's not like some of the other Gundams we made where you've got different layers in order to sort of build up the level of detail. This in itself is quite a simplistic model. It's quite a simplistic look on the Zaku, and I think it achieves it quite well. considering the money and considering how old it is. So, conclusion, would I recommend it to you? If you're looking for a cheap model to make, you're maybe looking for your first Zaku like I was, this isn't a bad place to start. I don't think it's the best model in the HG line, and I don't think it's the greatest Zaku that you can actually get either. But I enjoyed it, and that was half the battle. Putting it together was not a chore. They're quite big bits on this one, so it went together quickly and it was quite easy. I think if you spent some time putting the bits together with maybe some plastic glue, filing it down and really sort of tarting it up and painting it, I think this could be something quite good. I'm not really in it for that. It's not really what I wanted to do when I started this kind of modelling. Otherwise, I'll end up spending days and days, hours and hours on these models, and the likelihood is they'll just never get done. So I've kind of enjoyed the process of just building it and accepting it and appreciating it for what it is. I had a good time with it. It's not really an absolute recommend for me, but it's a good model. I certainly haven't got anything massively negative to say about it like I did with the Team Bright Custom RG model. That thing was awful. This is not that bad, and it's certainly a lot cheaper. Let me know what you think of this model. Have you guys made this one as well? Looking at it from a community point of view, is there anything that anybody else needs to know about this model? What do you guys think? Have you got another recommendation for me as a Zaku model? Is there anything that you think lives up to the hype when it comes to the Zaku stuff? I don't know a lot about the Zaku models. I know there's a lot of them, but I don't know which ones are the best ones. If you could tell me which ones they are, that'd be wicked. If you like what you saw today, please do click that like button and give that subscribe button a click as well. I'm making models all the time. I'm walking you through really my hobbies and the things that interest me, in the hope that sharing them with you either inspires you to go out and get something similar or take part in a hobby yourselves. I spend a lot of time procrastinating. This is a good way for me to be able to actually get some modelling done, and that's kind of what I'm all about, pushing it forward. We are a community together. I do hope you're getting some modelling done. Just look after yourselves, and I will see you guys soon.